The Boy in the Ruins. When I was in the 5th grade, I moved from my previous rental house to my current house. The elementary school I attended remained the same, but my new house was in the area farthest from the elementary school district. The area was originally dotted with orchards, etc., but was being redeveloped as the population of the bedroom community grew. So the area was a chaotic mix of new and old, with brand new asphalt-plotted housing lots and old wooden houses. For many of my classmates, it was uncharted territory, and after I moved here, they started going around to explore. Near my house, there was a magnificent 4-lane road under construction, and this bypass bordered the neighboring B Elementary School. Along the road, there is a thickly overgrown animal path, and when I passed through the path, I saw a huge, eerie ruin. At a quick glance, it was more than 50 years old, a sturdy 2-story reinforced concrete building. The size of the building is about twice the size of a school gymnasium, and it looks as if it used to be a hospital. The main entrance and the windows on the first floor are naturally blocked, so it is impossible to sneak in, but there is not a man in the world who would not get his curiosity aroused by the sight of such a thing. The first thing they said was, "Let's go inside and let's go around the outside first." I tried to walk along the outer wall, but weeds, cobwebs, and countless insects blocked my way. There were also rotting wooden pallets, cans, pails, and other trash scattered about, and some of the containers still had sludge and other unidentifiable objects in them. At this point, the sun was setting in the west, and we decided to give up for today and explore more thoroughly on Sunday. As we were about to break up on the bike, I suddenly felt the presence of someone, so I looked up at the abandoned house. There was a boy about our age on the rooftop, leaning against the fence and waving to us. I couldn't make out his face because of the backlighting, but from his mood, I judged that he was probably a student at another elementary school. I went to a small school, so I remember the names and faces of all the students in the same grade, and I can identify those in plus or minus 1 year to the level of familiarity. The height of the boy was clearly 4th-6th grade, but none of us knew him. So we came to the conclusion that he was from another elementary school. "Can we go up there?" one of us asked. "Yes, come on." "Where do we go in?" "You go around that way and go up the ladder." The boy pointed to the place where we had just tried and turned around. I wanted to check if it was really possible to go up the ladder, but I was skeptical, so I decided not to go up the ladder. Sunday. After breakfast, we gathered together as an expedition team and headed for the ruins of the school, where we found a group of people ahead of us. It seemed that they were from a different elementary school than us, and we recognized each other as students from other schools at the first sight. If this were a park or an arcade, the boys' territoriality would have led to an immediate fight. In fact, some of the boys from both elementary schools, especially those who belonged to the baseball and soccer teams, were constantly fighting. However, it is no exaggeration to say that this is a remote area that is away from home for both schools. We hit it off as soon as we realized we had the same goal. Like me, he had recently moved to a new residential area along the bypass and happened to find it. Then one of the students from another elementary school said something strange. He said, "The other day a student from your elementary school was waving from the roof." The reason why we decided it was one of our students was for the exact same reason: it was a boy we didn't know. The backlight was off, so I couldn't make out his face, but I could tell from his height that he must have been in the upper grades. "Actually, we thought he was a student at your school. Then I thought it might be another elementary school a long way away, but that was highly unlikely. It's a boy's instinct to be quiet in areas that are clearly not his territory. It's hard to imagine a stranger coming from far enough away to take the bus and beckoning us to come up to the roof. An improvised coalition was formed to go inside anyway and reach the rooftop if possible. We were heading in the opposite direction of what the boy on the rooftop had directed us to do last time, when we came upon a pump room adjacent to the building. I won't bore you with the details, but we succeeded in sneaking into the interior of the ruins through this pump room. The property was empty, and there was almost no equipment, so it is unclear what the original building was, but it was probably a hospital. The first floor was in a normal state of disrepair and could be reused with a little work. The problem was on the second floor, where the area from the corridor to the rooftop was scorched black, as if the smell of smoke was wafting in the air at any moment. The iron door leading to the rooftop had been deformed by the heat, and did not move even when the child pushed or pulled it. Well, since it's our first time here today, let's investigate the inside of the building thoroughly and eventually reach the rooftop. While he was wandering around saying that, he was actually thinking about something else in his mind. Later, when the members of our school only got together, they said, "I knew it, the first one to get to the roof wins." I guess this is another instinct of boys, the unwritten rule that whoever conquers the top is the boss there. Moreover, the boy we saw waving at us on the rooftop was not a classmate of the guys who formed the coalition. I don't know who or where, but at least we can claim our territory before they do. They must be thinking that way, just as we have come to that conclusion. A few days later, after afternoon classes, the same group of students headed to the ruins as usual. They didn't seem to be there that day. According to the boys' statement, they proceeded through the debris along the building, and then went up a ladder to the rooftop. However, the ladder was a thin steel frame of about 20 millimeters diameter fixed to the outer wall, and it was bright red and rusty. The angle of the ladder to the outer wall is also unreliable, and it is impossible to support a single child. Even from a distance, we decided that this ladder was out. With nowhere else to turn, we searched inside the building as before, but found nothing new. As the setting sun turned the building red and we were about to leave, the boy on the rooftop reappeared. How and when did he get there? Did he climb the outside ladder without making a sound and without being noticed when we were inside? Come on in, everyone. As on the day we first met, the backlight obscured his face. But they were the same height, the same gestures, waving their hands. What elementary school are you in? Where are you from? He doesn't answer my question. After a few seconds of silence, the boy replied, "Come on up, I'll tell you when you get here." Even so, it was time to go home, where the scary old man would be waiting for us. We didn't accomplish our mission that day either, so we went home. We had arrived at a hypothesis. The boy usually appears in the evening. If that is the case, we should wait outside before that time and watch his behavior. So we decided to meet this Sunday in the afternoon after lunch. Sunday. When I arrived at the site around 2 p.m., I found another elementary school gang that had formed a coalition. "I have something to say to you guys. I was expecting to see you here," he begins, with a mysterious look on his face. Sure enough, as we had expected, they were trying to reach the rooftop first. On a different weekday than the one we went to, an incident occurred. A boy appeared on the rooftop again that evening, and one of the members, Kobayashi, tried to climb the ladder as he was invited to do. However, when he reached the middle of the ladder broke and he fell down. Fortunately, it was only a slight bruise and he only missed a few days of work, but his parents and teachers gave him a hard time. Kobayashi says that right after he fell, he looked up at the rooftop in agony and his eyes met the boys for the first time. He usually looked up at the rooftop from the backlit east side of the building, but this time he was looking at the west side, which was well lit. The boy's face was not like that of a normal boy, but rather, it looked as if he was filled with anger, like Hanya. The prom looked down at Kobayashi from the rooftop and muttered in an animal-like voice, "Too bad." The other members were peering at him anxiously, so they didn't notice his presence. I wondered for a moment if they were lying to keep us away, but when I looked at the scene, I saw that the rebar of the ladder was partially missing teeth. It was a good thing that there were weeds underneath, but if it had collided with debris, it would have been more than enough. After that, The boom in exploring abandoned buildings had completely disappeared, and by the time I realized it, everything had been redeveloped and the area had become a normal residential area. When I entered junior high school, that Kobayashi was there too. After that, he was the only one who started having strange experiences. There is an ordinary house where the ruins used to be. He sometimes passes by the house, and when he looks up at it, he sometimes sees Prajna floating in the air. However, there is no route that leads to the house, so he cannot invite her to come up and see him, and she looks troubled. This concludes this story. Thank you for listening to the end.